Hello, IGC. I am so happy to be back with you on day 5 of our Social and Emotional Intelligence Week. And we've been having some exciting discussions this week. Today is our final competency that we're going to cover, but I want you to think about what we've covered this week. We have covered all the competencies that are really crucial for this time. For this time, while we're in a pandemic, what are the things that you can control? There's a lot that you can control in your self-management arena in social and emotional intelligence. So today's topic is initiative and bias for action. And so I've got a little ticker going, initiative and bias for action. It's simply being proactive and persistent and being ready to act for when there's opportunity. And that is key right now. If you think about some of the conversations we've had this week about resilience and personal agility and being able to just really name our intention, and like yesterday, we talked about realistic optimism, the things that we can really work on during this time. I've given you some awesome tools. Today, I dropped a tool, and the tool that you got today was about overcoming procrastination so that we know the key things that keep us from acting many times are ourself. That is that key thing, because we're procrastinating. Maybe we're feeling like it's not time or it's not good enough, or one of those many things that we do and tell ourselves, like we talked about with our self-talk this week. So this is what I want you to think of. I want you to think of how can you act. One of the questions, I always give you a question for your book entry to win the book, the copy of Daniel Goleman's Emotional Intelligence. And I want to make sure that you all can get entered to win that book. So I hope you join me live. And the question for the book entry today is simply, what's one thing you can do to move yourself or your business forward? And the reason I'm asking you to answer that question is that we know that there's something that we need to do to move ourselves forward, but for some reason we're not doing it. So, that's a big part of our activity today, is figuring out why we're not doing it. So I've come up with a little acronym for ACT, and I'm going to look at my notes real quick here. One, you need to be able to act and seize that opportunity that we're talking about. You need to be able to assess the situation. And that could be your situation. It could be in the environment. And a key way for you to be able to stay on top of assessing your situation or the environment is that you stay informed. Now, I'm not recommending becoming a news junkie and having news on 24/7. What I'm saying is if you know your industry or the environment of where you excel, where you provide a service, whether it's you working for an organization or you're working for yourself as an entrepreneur, you need to be informed. And that means you need to know what's going on in the industry. So are you watching videos on YouTube? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you paying attention to thought leaders within your industry? Are you staying informed? Because for us to be able to be ready to pivot and act on an opportunity, we can't be a follower. We really need to be a leader in that situation. And the leadership comes because you have assessed the situation and you've stayed informed. So the C for ACT is consequence. So what's the consequence if you don't take action and act on this opportunity? What are you missing out? What's going to happen to you, your growth, your business, or some other situation that you're working with right now? What's the consequence? Is it going to stall your career? Is it going to prevent you from moving forward in some way? And so I'm looking at some comments. And so Lee, Thank you for saying invite prospects to Zooms. Oh my gosh, absolutely. And pivot, work on your pivot. You need to know what you need to do to move yourself and your business forward. And when I say you move yourself, I mean that could be in your career, that could be personally, that could, in a relationship in some way, your business, whether you're working within an organization or as an entrepreneur, you got to figure out. So you got to figure out what that this landscape is. You got to assess that. You've got to know what is going on in your industry. You've got to know what the thought leaders say. That's that assessment piece. And then you've got to figure out what's going to be the consequence if you don't take action. If you don't take action today, what's the consequence? If you wait and see what happens, what's the consequence? And then the last one, of course, is to take initiative and act. And if we don't take the initiative, meaning we don't wait for someone to tell us what to do, we figure it out and we go for it. And you know what? There's going to be risk in that. There's absolutely going to be risk in taking initiative, because if you go first, it's not tested. But you know what you'll get out of that? You'll learn something. You'll also become a leader and reviewed as a leader or an expert because you are willing to take the risk. Next week, we're going to talk about what leaders do. Leaders are always willing to go first. They're willing to be brave. They're willing to demonstrate courage. And that's what taking initiative really requires, because you don't know the outcome. You're not going to have a 100% answer on what the end result's going to be. But if you don't act and you don't take initiative after you've assessed and you've figured out what the opportunity is and you've taken the lead and you know the consequence, if you don't act, you've got to do it. So take initiative and create that bias for action. And it's a muscle you have to build because, like I said, it requires courage and it's scary, definitely scary. And this is all about being a victor, not a victim, because we can all be a victim of circumstances if we allow ourselves to be. But when we're a victor, we've taken that situation and we flipped it because we have figured out how to take initiative, how to act, and find our brave muscle, our courage muscle, and really flex it big time. And then, so this is the deal. If you're going to act, you also need to do a few other things. And that means you need to stick to a routine. And we've been talking about habits in our Atomic Habits discussion in the IGC book club. And the reason habits are so essential is that if you have a routine, you have a schedule, you know what you're going to do, you know your priority actions every day, then that allows you to build in that time to do that assessment like we were talking about, to do that necessary thinking to be able to move yourself forward. So I talked about the tool that is going to be available for you to, of course, I've already posted it. And Lee, thank you for saying flex your courage muscle. Absolutely. That is so important. We've got to flex it. So let's talk about what the SEEP entry post is. The SEEP entry post is simply this. I want you to complete the 20-question worksheet to overcome procrastination. Because we know, even though we know we need to act on something, for some reason we're not acting. So as soon as you figure out why you're not acting, that's going to be able to allow you to pivot and start to act. And so I want you to complete the worksheet, and then I want you to post an insight in the comments below this video in the feed before midnight Central Time on Saturday, tomorrow night on May 2nd. What I've also done is made a decision, because I get to do that here in the IGC. I've made a decision that for all the SEEP entries, I've extended the deadline to get this accomplished by midnight tomorrow, by midnight May 2nd. And the reason I've done that is because I really want you guys to do the work. I want you to figure out what your intention is. I want you to get really clear on how you can become agile and maybe where you stand in your agility. I want you to figure out definitely what today's challenge is how to overcome procrastination. Because when we make a decision to act and we seize that opportunity, really seize that day, we win. We become victors because we've had a success, whether it's small or big. And if nothing else, we've learned how to do it better the next time. So make sure that you post your SEEP entry. Make sure that if you've joined me live, you can still get that book entry in. And yes, I saw that comment, Kathleen. Oh, procrastination, my nemesis. Oh, it is mine too. And if you look at this questionnaire, there are some very good questions to ask yourself, and you'll dig deep and you'll get to the root. And a lot of the root is fear, because we're worried. We're worried that it's not going to work out right. We're worried about what will people think. We're worried about all kinds of different things that's happening up here, but it's maybe not accurate. Remember yesterday when we worked through that whole understanding our thoughts, that step, that ABCDE method that came from Martin Seligman? You want to consider that as we're really working on our self-talk and understanding what's preventing us from taking action and moving forward. So this wraps the SEEP week, the SEEP week. I saw SEEP and I said it, the Social and Emotional Intelligence Week. And the reason I want some of you to be entered into winning the SEEP, over $250 value, it is assessment on you. You assess yourself on almost 80 questions, and then I'm going to sit down with you and we're going to look at it together, and we're going to start your personal plan to grow in your areas where you have opportunity and leverage those strengths that you already possess. And remember, it's behavior-based, because it's all relative to what you decide, what you choose to do. So take initiative, have that bias for action, build those muscles, find some courage, and go for it, because you are a victor. Don't sit in the same seat as a victim right now. Become a victor. And that's all I have for you all today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It's May 1st. It's going to be beautiful this weekend. Do something for yourself. Flex your courage muscle and get into action. It's a new month. Take control. It's your day, and you can choose to make it a masterpiece.